Hello everybody and welcome to this week's old school Q&A. I am your host, Mods Ayiza, and I'm joined by the wonderful Mod Elena.
Hello.
Mod Grub.
Hey.
And Mod Tide.
Hello there.
Hello. This is actually really hard to balance on my head, I'm not going to lie. I don't know how you're getting on with it, Elena.
Practice.
Just chilling there, yeah. I'll just be really still. Alright, let's do a quick round table because I did this in a weird order last week and it threw me off, so I'm going to try and do it the proper way around. How are you today, Elena?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Just got my mod crown on my head. I'm happy.
What's the context behind the mod crown?
So, I just ordered the other day this little fella. Ooh. The newest addition to the family. Came with a little crown. So shout out to Witchy for making those. Really cool.
Yes. So we basically put in like a big order of a load of nibbler pets from Witchy. Witchcrafty. I think we've shown off quite a few of her work before in the previous Q&As, and it was just a case of like, well, we couldn't resist. So we're now all proud owners of our own nibblers, and well, I'm never going to get my own in game, so this will do just fine. I'm good as well, by the way, Elena. You did ask me, and I ignored you, but yeah, I'm pretty good, thank you. What have you been up to this week?
Honestly, mainly working on clans. It's getting very close to being done, so I'm super hyped about that. All that I've been doing now is just, testing it, making sure it's bug-free, hopefully, soon. And doing lots of extra stuff. We talked about the clan halls before, adding little things you can do in there. Just kind of niceties at this point.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Grub, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to show off what I've come to show off.
Wait, hold on. Have you got aliens on your shirt?
No, little skellies.
Oh, they're skeletons. Okay. Oh, right. I thought they were like little alien heads. Not that that's less cool than skeletons. It's still cool. I was like, wow, I've never seen an alien shirt before. I want one. All right. So what have you been up to this week, Grub?
This week has all been about the Scythes, and there's 1,000 things going on behind the scenes. I don't know how much I can talk about, but it's been ram-packed. So I'm just going to leave it there. Just going to tease it like that.
Sounds good. We'll come back to you shortly anyway, because we've got some, as you say, some interesting concepts we want to show off. Tide, how have you been? How are you?
I'm doing okay, apart from an instant this morning where I went to go grab one of those big bottles of Coke and managed to drop it on my foot. And not just on the foot entirely, on one of my toes. And yeah. No, it was the one next to the big toe, to the right of the big toe.
Okay, alright, that's not so bad then, at least. Are you hobbling around now?
I was at the time.
Yeah.
Not Coke. Pepsi. Sorry, Pepsi. I'm not Coke.
Okay, well, hopefully that recovers. I was going to say, have you been hobbling around today? Then I remembered that we literally all just sit in our chairs all day and don't move. So
You don't get up every hour for a couple of minutes to have a little stretch.
Probably not as much as I should do, let's be honest. But posture check, everyone. If you haven't already, get up, stretch, get the blood flowing. Okay, deep breaths, all that good healthy stuff. What have you been up to this week, Tide? Apart from dropping Pepsi on your toes?
Well, this earlier this week I was working on some stuff. Then today I've been working on some more secret stuff.
Okay, all right, great. So we've got a couple of mod secrets in here, and at least Elena told us about clans, so that's good. No one asked, but I'll tell you what I've been doing this week, writing blogs. Yeah, so for Sani's Nightmare, I believe that mod Sani actually is going to get an updated version of the Fasani's Nightmare blog uploaded whilst we're live on the stream. I'm not sure exactly when. I sent him over all of the kind of changes that I made and said just upload it. So that might be coming out at some point, and when it does, we'll let you know. But there are some announcements that we want to get through first, so let's get to it. Exclamation mark game update. So games rooms tables are popping up all over Gillinor this week. Head to your local pub or to the new area within the Grand Exchange to battle it out on the board with fellow scapers. We've also made improvements to Tempoross and more. Find all this and more by using exclamation mark game update. I know there's a question in the chat. I saw some of the questions that we've got saved for today regarding Tempoross. Just in case anyone isn't aware, we did make a change with the game update yesterday that essentially made the current solo metas less viable. We've reverted that change today, so we can once again say that they are improvements to Tempoross rather than anything otherwise. But we'll touch on that in a little minute. Exclamation mark Phosani, Phosani. Earlier this week, we announced Phosani's Nightmare potential return. Since gathering your feedback, we'll be making some changes to the recent poll blog after this stream. Oh, there you go then. Use exclamation mark Phosani to check out the news post, or just head to oldschool.runescape.com and I think it's the most recent news post that we posted out there. Exclamation mark support. All right, this is a big one. We are still looking into players experiencing some intermittent lag during play. If you've experienced this, help us to gather more data so that we can investigate further to determine the cause. If you experience this during your sessions, please use the forum thread with exclamation mark support. And I just want to quickly highlight how important it is that we get useful information. And obviously, anything that you can tell us is going to be somewhat useful. But when we're looking at lag, if say for example, I guess don't exaggerate. Also, don't hide away from the fact that if you're having problems. But if you play on a particular world and you get lag at a particular time, let us know that specifically, rather than saying something like, I'm lagging all the time on every world, the game sucks. Because whilst your experience of that may be true, it's a lot harder for us to identify. So if you are able to pinpoint specific times or specific activities that you were doing that may have caused it, then it's going to help us really drill down into what could potentially be causing that. So the more concise, specific information, the better. Thank you very much. And then exclamation mark clans. With clans just around the corner, this is your last chance to secure your current clan's name. Visit our form and submit your application with our pre-registration form with exclamation mark clans. I do believe we'll be putting out news to suggest this, but I think that we're going to be closing pre-registration sometime tomorrow afternoon. So if you haven't already, make sure you pre-register your clan, but also read the rules on there. Don't be silly about registering it because, that's not very nice. And then there's just one note that I've been told to mention on here. Currently, the hardcore Iron Man high scores are down. The team is hard at work investigating the issue, and we hope to update you soon with more information. Apologies for any inconvenience with that one. We'll hopefully get them back up as soon as possible. If you have any questions that you want to ask the team or myself, then please at OldSchoolRS in the chat with your questions. All right. Whew, take a breather. Player creation showcase. Thanks, Grub. We have some content to show you. Exclamation mark UGC in the chat if you want to see these at your own leisure. But this is a DDS headset stand from Medieval Narwhal. Narwhal? I think that's how you say that. Which I think looks epic, and I need one myself. I love the incorporation of the little wood bit as well. The log.
I actually need one myself as well. Usually what I do is I clamp mine to my desk. It's not a great way.
That's what I did until we
my
got
headset.
a puppy. Yeah, when we got a dog, he decided that it was really fun to, knock the headset off the table all the time. So now I just place it on the top. But okay, this is from Dave Edgy, and the title is "My aunt made me a birthday cake that I thought my fellow medieval clicker enjoyers might appreciate." Oh, happy birthday, Dave!
We're gonna get one.
Birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
That's awesome. I love the stone effect on the RS. It looks really realistic.
Looks amazing.
Have you seen those channels where it's like where it makes you think that it's an item, but actually they cut it open and it was cake? There's like so many realistic looking things.
Sometimes I think I'm good at cooking, and then I see stuff like this, and I'm like, no, I don't know anything. I'm level 10, they're level 99. Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool. What we got coming up next? This is from, I believe, Totty93, and the title is "A Piece of Work I Did for a Clanny." Someone in their clan. Wow, very nice.
It's really cool. I like the gilded spade.
the gilded spade and the cape that is literally on fire. Grub, when can we see something like that being added into the game? A real fire cape.
The real fire cape. Damn, let's do it now. There's the concept. Yeah. We're ready to go.
All right, cool. So coming to you soon, there'll be Fight Caves hard mode, not the Inferno, just Fight Caves hard mode with the real cape of fire. Not the fire cape, it's the cape of fire instead. Hell yes. This sounds great. Okay, next one comes from Artistic Imp, and the title is The First Commandment. What's the second one? Thou shalt not XP waste. This is great.
Maybe the second one would be Thou shalt not crash.
Thou shalt not crash other players. Nah, screw that.
Take not thy neighbor's NPC.
Okay. All right, I'll get on board with it, actually. I say screw that, but I'm the kind of guy that I've never intentionally crashed someone. I would always hop around and try and find a free world, or have a friendly conversation and ask them how long they're going to be. But yeah. All right, that's the last one that we've got here. This is from It's Your Boy Dragon, and apparently they found this gem while cleaning out their closet for a move. Apparently their cousin drew this for them over 10 years ago, and it was the gear for killing bandos.
I like it.
That's the one. That's the one.
Looks pretty good.
Muscles.
That's stunning.
It looks badass. Like, yeah, I don't want to get punched by him.
He wouldn't be able to punch you, would he? He'd get stabbed by claws.
Well, that's partly the reason why I wouldn't get punched, I guess. But even if, drops those claws, claps me with those fists, I'm running. I'm getting out of there. All right, cool. I really enjoy this segment of the stream. Hopefully those in chat do too. But I think, since we've started showing off more and more of the community's artwork, we've been seeing more and more of it being created as well, which just made me happy all round. I love seeing, player creation. So please keep your stuff coming. Pop it over to us on Twitter or on Reddit or Instagram. We'll try and find it and we'll try and get your stuff showcased. Talking about showcases, Grub. Oh, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, if anyone has any art, throw it to my Twitter as well. I love seeing the stuff. Mod Grub.
Oh, there you go. At JagXGrub. Go, 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 go. Get the tags in. All right. Now I'll try and redo that little segue. So, speaking of showcases, Grub, we have some of your concept art that we want to show off. Do you want to run us through what we're seeing on stream here?
Sure. So, obviously, you guys saw the original design. There was a lot of conversation on Twitter about that. I loved it. There was so many good suggestions. For those that wanted a really gothic evil one, I'm afraid it cannot be done, but I have tried to work in a bit more of a grim design on some of these. Look at 2 and 5. I've added the dangly bit back. We got the much loved dangly bit. It's not a lantern this time, but just looking at some of these comments. Yeah, so great variety here. A lot for you guys to choose from. There is going to be a poll, but also hit me up on Twitter and let me know your thoughts. If you have variations, cut them up, switch them around, do paint overs. I just want to see what you guys have got.
Awesome. Yeah, so just so that everyone is aware in chat, the intention is that now that Pulse 75 is closed and the cosmetic variation of the Scythe did pass, like, we know that not everyone was happy with that design that we initially proposed to you, but ultimately it's a case of you either say yes and have a design, or you say no and don't get it. Although we would have probably came back and pulled different options anyway. But regardless, we know that not everyone was happy with it. So what we're looking to do with the Fasani's Nightmare blog is there will be a poll question in there that offers 4 different variations of the Scythe of Vitur, the cosmetic override. And then we'll basically give you the opportunity to vote on those 4 options, and whichever one gets the highest number of votes will be the one that we end up implementing. So what we would like to do is we are posting a straw poll in the chat right now, which includes these 6 options that you see currently on screen. Out of those 6, which ones do you think we should put forward to the polls? And I think we're looking at having 4 in total. But yeah, we want to know which one you prefer the most, and we'll probably take the top 4 based off both here in the stream today and also from general reaction to other from other communities and other feedback areas. And then we'll look to hopefully get that polled alongside Fasani's Nightmare, which really loud vehicle just went past. I think we're going to be looking to get that done early next week. So yeah, I'm going to cast my vote in now. I'll be super secret about what I'm voting.
Can you link it again? I didn't vote.
Oh yeah, sure. Sani, can you spam the straw poll again in chat, please? There we go.
Got it. Thank you.
Well, it looks like I went with
for
the
those-
majority.
Oh, for those that are totally not on board with any of these, give me some constructive feedback on Twitter. I'd love to know specifically why. That's the way we're going to get to the good stuff. So yeah, let's keep it constructive.
I like the emphasis on constructive there. Yeah, so if it turns out that we still can't come to an agreement, ready for the next poll, then we might end up having to look at doing a separate poll a little bit later down the line. But our intention is to work with you as much as we can to get to something that everyone, or at least as many people as possible, are in agreement on. So yeah, you can use !poll to vote as well, apparently. Thank you for that, Sani. Cool. That is everything I wanted to cover for now. Really great concepts. Thank you so much, Grub, by the way, for putting those together for us. I know it's been a bit of a hectic one with a fast turnaround and trying to draw them. So again, just to reiterate and emphasize what Grub said, if you don't like what's on the screen at all, then let ModGrub know constructively. If you do like what's on the screen, then let us know which options you prefer the most. We are looking to poll a variety of options soon so that you get to choose which one you prefer. Yeah. Cool. All right, let's get into some chat questions. And this one's going straight to you, actually, Grub. You're a popular one today. How do you feel about the inconsistencies in the game's art style, such as some monsters having shadows, thriftiness trees versus Tyranwin trees, etc.?
It bugs me so much. It really bugs me. The inconsistency in the game is something we're looking at a lot right now. We've been looking at a lot of the tech stuff coming out from you guys. A lot of the, you guys adding kind of more bespoke lighting and more interesting textures and things like that. We're looking at all of that and we love it. Jagex is a big corporation. We move a little bit more slowly than independent devs, so give us time, but we're really intrigued with all of that. And that kind of tech advancement is going to resolve all of the inconsistencies. One of my least favorite is the fact that the cape is rendered backwards and it's darker, so all capes are rendered. It just, I hate it so much. We're working on it and we're very aware of it. The end goal is for a consistent look for old school RuneScape. How that final look will pretty much be what we have right now, but just with a better treatment. I mean, that pretty much sums up my thoughts on that one. It bugs me.
Cool. Fair enough. Thank you. Mod Grub got bugged. Sit Down Pro has asked, the new games area in the Grand Exchange is great. Besides the popular demand to add chess, do you think during the games my opponent and I can speak clearly in the trade chat channel or likewise? Currently, it's a bit hard to chat with the person you are playing with. Ooh, I like that.
I was thinking about this one a little bit, and I don't, like, we probably could maybe do it, but it would also feel really strange to type in the trade chat to me.
Yeah, because I guess using the trade chat when it's not a trade.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't the drawing a staking window do the same though?
Oh, does it? If they do, we can probably just do the same here.
I wouldn't see why not, because you're interacting with another player.
Yeah. If we do it there, then yeah, let's do it.
Cool. I don't think we have space to add another tab. No,
there's a new one coming in.
Yeah, because there's a new one with clans. Did you say, Elena?
Yeah, there's a new chat channel coming up with clans. So we don't have much more space than that.
I just saw a suggestion in chat, and they said to rename trade chat to interaction chat.
That could work. That's a pretty big change, though. I mean, I know it's only just a case of a word, but trade chat is so nostalgic.
True.
I mean, I'm kind of being jovial about it, but I do think there are probably quite a few people out there that wouldn't want to see that change because, it's trade chat. It's what you've always known it as. I mean, we obviously have players that are very passionate about even the the smallest of things that have been in the game the way they have for a while. So yeah, but there's potential for it. And if not, even maybe if like it was a different filter option, like maybe you could right-click filter public chat to, maybe there is an option for interaction chat on there or something like that. It sounds like it could be possible. We'll see. Cool. Thanks, everyone. Lunch O Guy has said, Crystal Armour is very heavy and has pathetic defensive stats compared to the black beehide / armadillo armour. You guys have discussed buffing its offensive capabilities. Why not its other stats? How difficult it is to get, it makes sense that Crystal Armour would at least have better stats than black dragonhide.
That's sound logic right there. I think that, obviously with the equipment rebalancing happening soon, Crystal Armour is one of the things we're looking at. And the weight would definitely be a consideration when we're looking at where that should be compared to other armors and in combination with, different weapons. So it's being considered. I can't really speak to it more than that.
Yeah, I've actually seen the specific changes. I'm not going to say what they are just yet, because I think it's best suited that you see it in the blog. But there's going to be a fair bit that's going to change stat-wise, like across the board. I think for Crystal Armour, I remember it being in a table because I've been planning that blog. So I guess that's a little like sneak peek, secret leak for you that we are basically ready now to be in a position to start putting together the blog for the ranged meta proposal, which follows on from the last blog that we did, where we talked about the issue and then put out a survey. So we've kind of got together all your stuff from the survey, put together all our thoughts, tried to make the best solution, as well as a load of information, and then we're putting that together and then sharing it with you. So that's going to be coming relatively soon. I just need to get the Wilderness Project out of the way first, I think. Cool. Thank you, Elena. Kiwi Dude 4 has said, why is hard mode Nightmare planned to be solo only? We have so little group content for an MMO.
So I asked Mod Arcane and Mod Husky about this one, because they've both been working on that one. And essentially, it's about making the fight unique and more challenging. Because it's significantly harder to fight the boss alone when you can't really rely on anyone else carrying you through it. And it's also the fact that we're slightly increasing the drop rates of uniques from it. And so we can do that because it is more challenging. But the second it gets easier, we can't really justify that anymore. At least to me. But that's how I see it.
Yeah, there is a section in the blog that you'll be seeing after this stream that does kind of touch on that as well. It goes into a little more detail, kind of, also not. Yeah, kind of what Elena said, but also is that the reason that hard mode Nightmare will be solo is because it's going to be a completely different boss almost from Nightmare of Ashihama. It's just that they're going to share similar models. But the way that the fight will actually play out is going to be completely different. So aside from balancing for the mechanics and also the loot, it was just to add a little bit more variation. It's like as much as there's not a huge amount of like group content that's available, if Fasani's Nightmare was to be introduced and to be made a group alternative, like viable as a group, why would anyone ever go and do Nightmare of Ashihama like ever again? You just wouldn't. So it's almost like there'll be no point in having that hard mode coming out because it would just replace it. So if you want to have a little bit better chance of uniques, if you want to work a little bit harder, you want to have a bit more of an engaging and intense fight, then you do the solo version in the what's the hard mode. And if you want to have a little bit more of a laid back, relaxed kind of like encounter, you can play with your friends, your gear and your levels don't matter as much. That's what Nightmare of Ashihama is going to be for. And I think that gives it some good level of kind of like differentiation between the two and still makes them two viable bosses. One thing to touch on that is that a lot of people probably are like, oh, we'll just make the changes to Nightmare anyway. We saw that feedback as well since we posted the first blog, and the new blog touches on how we're going to look to make some of the smaller changes that we were planning for Fasani's Nightmare to the actual Nightmare of Ashihama encounter itself as well. So you'll see that in the blog, but some of the kind of like little improvements that, actually, yeah, we probably should just make those to the Nightmare by default anyway, because it'll make it better. So that's that. Okay, Murder Pura has said, why did Tempoross solo method get nerfed out of nowhere? Months after the release is no excuse to change a mechanic we've built strategies around. It's a good question. Unless there are any objections, I'll just jump straight into it. I'm very conscious of talking too much because I know last Q&A I took over, so I try not to do the same again.
I can't remember the reason why.
So essentially, we looking at what happened with Tempoross and that solo method getting nerfed. The change wasn't intentionally done to nerf solo methods. There's actually a bug with Tempoross, and the change was in a response to fixing that bug. It's just unfortunate that it had a much more impactful, it messed up the solo metas way more than we ever thought that it would, because it was just meant to be what was a bug fix, so that people could carry on playing in the larger groups or smaller groups or whatnot, and the fights seemed pretty much the same. I think at the time we were looking at like a 1 or 2, maybe even like 5% at max difference in terms of like pre and post bug fix changes for solo play, and that just wasn't the case. And it was just unfortunate that that was something that really I think we should have probably discussed first with players that were doing it solo, but because it didn't look like there was going to be a massive impact on there, it was a case of going ahead and doing it. So kind of like saying that there's no excuse to change a mechanic we built strategies around. Like, I agree, it's true, and that's why we reverted it at the end of the day. Like we saw that too and was like, you know what, this is way too impactful. What we're going to do instead is revert the change, which we've now done via a hotfix. So the solo method is all back again, and instead we're going to spend the time to look at a more robust solution to fixing that potential bug that won't impact those solo methods. So we will go back and try and fix it, but yeah, other than that, you're right. We really shouldn't be changing things without talking to you at least first, especially when you've built strategies and methods and metas around it. So that's why we removed it. What's going on, Tide? I was too busy looking in the corner. Why is everyone spamming your name? Why you need to be freed? What have you done?
I don't know. I just scratched my nose and then I read a comment which said, "Scratch your nose if you're a hostage," and thought, "Oh, oops."
Oh no. Okay. All right. Well, at least it was harmless. I thought, oh, what's going on here? I need to keep you in my peripheral vision. All right. So that's Tempoross, basically. Hopefully I answered that okay. I kind of waffled a bit as normal, but yeah. Sorry. Next question from D. Snemo, I think. Probably get roasted for that. Is it possible to make the new music player toggleable? Even better, give us an option to make an area always have its song play first and the rest only play afterwards. And this is in response to the recent change where in free-to-play, map grids now have a collection of music tracks that play as opposed to just one fixed track.
I don't remember why it was changed. I think it was from mainly like a code design perspective, if I'm not wrong. So without knowing why it was changed, I'd be reluctant to say that we could revert it,
Mm-hmm.
True, but if it could be done, I wouldn't see why not.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, technicalities aside, for me personally, if there's an option to have it back how it was and it's not going to be too much of a problem, like with a toggle, then sure. Especially now that we've got the new settings menu and we can actually accommodate a lot more toggles and changes, as opposed to having interface inception to try and find your settings.
Yeah, we can definitely look into doing it. I'm not opposed to it at all. I'm just cautious,
Mm-hmm. Cool. See, I get the easy job because I can just say yes to everything because I haven't got a clue about the technical side. and then just have to let you deal with it, so it's fine. All right. Burn Notice 911 has said, everyone seemed to think turning God pages in for burnt pages was a good idea, but the idea seemed to fade away. Can this please be polled?
See, it sounds like a good idea on paper, but
until the paper gets burnt.
You're going to inadvertently increase the amount of pages that decrease the price that there'll be, so you wouldn't really have to do Todd for the pages ever again.
Yeah. The pages would essentially be buyable. I guess they're tradable already, aren't they? Never mind.
Well, they're not worth much anyway, I don't think, from what I checked, so it's probably not that bad an idea, and it might actually increase the value of some god pages.
Yeah, it just depends on how we want to weigh it, you know? Do we want burnt pages to be rare, or do we want the god pages to be more rare?
Out of interest, what do we do now about the Tome of Water, though? Like, do you have a chance of getting a burnt page or a wet page?
Maybe you could only
when
do
you
for
do-
specific pages, so that the Zami ones could be burnt pages, the Sara ones could be wet pages. Andis and Armadillo to be to be determined, I guess. Maybe.
Well, I
Earth
mean, you've still got the
pages.
Tome of Earth, the what else have we got? The Tome of Air,
Tome of Air.
Tome of Mind.
Yeah.
Plenty of things to come from that yet still. Okay. I guess really, I mean, can it be polled? It probably can at some point, but it's probably worth revisiting it as a design now, just because of the fact that we have another tome in game, and what do we do about additional tomes if they were to be introduced? But I wouldn't be against looking at adding it in for another future like game improvement poll that we do perhaps, and that's a way we can approach, you know, how exactly would this work, like in a blog. Okay. Daklo's Dull has said, could the player and house bedroom furniture get the same interface as the Falador hairdresser and Varrock clothes shop?
Yes, please.
That's a good
Cool.
one.
All right. Estatos 159. Oh, this is a long question. All right, we'll try. I'll try and get through this. Although I don't think we can actually give you much of an answer, to be honest. What are you doing with the Steam client? There are still issues, some smaller, some larger. There's an FPS problem now for around 3 weeks, which caps the frame rate at 60 while focused and uncaps when the client's unfocused. The Steam achievements are not working properly. The issue list in the board hasn't been updated for a long time, since February 24th. And the last news we got was we're experimenting on increasing render distance. Very big question. Is anyone here able to answer on that?
Yeah, I don't know how much we're allowed to talk about that yet. We
Yeah.
have got some. I can only vaguely say that we've got some pretty ambitious graphical experiments going on, but I can't touch on exactly what we're doing right now until it's a bit more final.
Cool. Okay.
Yes, TLDR, we know it's happening and we are considering options, but we can't really say what those options are yet.
Yeah, that's about right.
As well as that, though, I mean, at the end of the day, the work with the Steam client is still ongoing, just like it is with normal client. If you're experiencing issues, make sure you let us know about them as well. I'm sure that you probably already have, but if you haven't, make sure you're reporting them in game by right-clicking the report of use burn and then submitting a bug report. Those really help us identify, you know, when there are issues that need to be looked at. Likewise, as well, if you have you know, social media. I think the Steam Discord has been closed down now because that was only active for the beta. But yeah, let us know. Post on the Steam community section as well for Old School. We do monitor that. Or ping it across to us on the Old School Discord server, the official Old School Discord. And then we can obviously let the devs know and get them to look at that. But for the most part, a lot of the things that are, you know, potentially wrong with the Steam client are being looked into, ongoing fixes and such. Not much more that I can say about that, though. So I do think that the issues board, though, is one thing that's probably on us from a CM perspective, and apologies for that not being updated. It's something that probably should be kept updated, even if it's just a case of, like, you know, no further issues. Maybe we can do like a monthly thing where we just pop something into there. So I'll have a chat with the rest of my team about that, at least, to see what we can do, just to give you a bit more of a insight into what's going on, at least. And that gives me a chance as well to ask the team working on Steam where they're at with, you know, those potential issues. Diceno7 has said, are there any plans on modernizing the rare drop table? When the boss Slayer log was showcased last July, there was mention of a rare drop table improvement. This came up recently. I remember talking about it, actually.
I don't actually know what was mentioned then. But I do know that we have to be really careful with adjusting the rare drop table, just because it's plugged in like so many places. So one small change will lead to huge impacts because of that. So what we could do is we could have a new rare drop table and have more control of where that is plugged in, decide what to add to that. Something that I really like is when you have items that kind of affect your luck on certain tables. For example, how Ring of Wealth increases your chance to land on the rare drop table, you know? We could build on top of that. Maybe a rare drop on the rare drop table could give you a new ring that gives access to the super rare drop table, for example. Something like that.
That's sounding Ring of the Dwarvesy.
Oh yeah, like in RS3, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that we could do. But I'd be very cautious with, you know, changing the existing rare drop table.
I think that was what happened in the same conversation that I had as well, Elena. I think it was with Husky maybe, and we were talking about like I just said like, you know, off the cuff, like, can't we just add a few items in there, make it a little bit more valuable? It was like, yeah, okay, until you realise that actually the rare drop table is on so many different NPCs that you could potentially make something really broken.
No, maybe like a new unique boss rare drop table or something.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't be against looking at it for like maybe separate NPCs, perhaps. Like they have an enhanced rare drop table and there's the standard one, yeah.
Yeah, could even be one unique to Slayer when you're on a task.
Hey, mayhaps. I guess to answer the question, there aren't any immediate plans to modernise the rare drop table, but it has been discussed somewhat recently. Last week was when I had my conversation with Husky, so we're aware of it. It's just about finding the right opportunity to do something for it, I guess. And interestingly enough, considering we had a lot of stuff for PDM in Pole 75, it clearly wasn't that big of a deal because it didn't make it in unless we just missed it. So maybe we can get that in if there's enough demand in the future. Cool. So, actually, before I say this name, I just got a very quick update in regards to the Steam one, at least. The mention of the frame rate being capped at 60 FPS while focused. It being uncapped when unfocused, I'm not sure about, but whilst focused, that was actually intentional, and it was to help alleviate some issues with crashing that we're currently investigating. So, but again, that's where updating the board would help, because you would know that that was intentional rather than it being something that you thought was a problem. So, apologies. We'll look to do better on that. Amarantine, I think, has said, would you consider adding the evil trees, distractions and diversions with a reward shop that offers an alternative way to get lumberjack? It's currently the only 2.5% boost set that you get from an entirely unrelated activity.
I think in one of our ideation days I was working on like a pumpkin boss, which you chop the roots, so that could be turned into an evil tree.
That's really cool.
That is cool.
I could like that. I don't like the current way you get the lumberjack outfit, but I don't think I would put it on evil trees D&Ds because they were just really annoying, you know? When I'm woodcutting, I just want to woodcut in peace and watch a show or a stream and just not care about an ent coming to kill me, you know? So I wouldn't put it on evil trees, but that pumpkin sounds really cool.
All right, I like it. I guess at least the saving grace is that the lumberjack outfit doesn't take long to get, even if it is somewhat unrelated. It's kind of related. You do a minigame, and in the minigame you do woodcutting, but yeah, I don't know.
You get it from an undead lumberjack zombie, so
yeah,
stealing his clothes. Stealing his clothes, you know. There's something wrong with that, but you know,
nabbing his garbs. Just don't mind me, yoink. Yeah, I like it though. I saw some comments in chat. I think people are interested to hear about woodcutting Todd. So yeah, hopefully we get to see a design for that in the future, Tide. Look forward to it. Right, Captain All has said, add a tracker for Nesty to keep track of how many god eggs you've sacrificed to the shrine in the woodcutting guild.
Yes, please. Ship it.
Yeah.
Had the
No,
Elena seal of approval. Done.
Yep. I approve of this message. No, I really like trackers for these kind of things, and I imagine, you know, people are going for the evil chicken outfit. Would just like to see how lucky they are. Makes sense. I don't think we have a tracker though, so it wouldn't track, you know, the stuff that you already sacrificed, but yeah. It would start fresh.
Cool. All right. Thank you. Ambushes has asked, any thoughts on buffing the herb sack or introducing an upgrade to it that makes it actually useful for farming? It's odd that it's a TIE farm reward, but at the moment it's only really used for Slayer. It would be nice if we could use it on herb runs, but the 30 slot restriction makes it pretty much useless for actual farming. I think it would make sense to make a herb sack upgrade a TIE farm reward as well. Whew. Took me a while to get through that one.
Okay,
Even
I'll
if it
go.
holds the 30, you really don't need any more than that because you have 30 plus however many inventory spaces you get, unless you get a really lucky run.
If you're just planting the same herb, you wouldn't really need the herb sack for that.
No, you'd note them.
Yeah, exactly.
This is where I'm thinking is like, unless you're taking like a massive variety of herbs, then just use the leprechaun.
And the herb sack's really useful when you do herbivore. I use it there like quite a lot.
Yeah. So I guess that's the consideration is, you know, like even if it might seem harmless, buffing it for a farm run that probably isn't really that necessary, it then has a lot of knock-on effects, you know, in other areas of content that it gets used as well, which is something that we have to consider, you know, with upgrades and making things better. I don't know. I don't think I've ever had this issue myself personally. Yeah. So I don't really think it's only really used for Slayer, because as I think, Elena, you already gave one example. Herbivore is another place. And even if it was only really used for Slayer, is that a problem? I don't really think as much of a problem. It has a use somewhere. The leprechauns are there for farming. It is actually a reward from Slayer as well. So... I think our response to that probably suggests that maybe not, but you know, if there's enough demand that we could potentially consider it in the future, mayhaps. Kitty6660 says, can we possibly get barbarian outfits like the ones worn by barbarians of Barbarian Village? There's a lot of variety in barbarian wear, so it would be a nice addition to beginner and easy clue scrolls. It would also be nice to expand free-to-play fashionscape. And I swear, I was about to say, how many times can you fit barbarian into one question? But thankfully it stopped. So, yeah, barbarian outfits like barbarians in Barbarian Village. What do we think?
Needs more barbarian.
Can we get the big axe as well?
Oh, yeah, I'd love that.
Yes. Let's do it.
Yeah, I like it. And coming from clue scrolls as well is always cool. I guess we can consider that for the next potential clue scroll expansion that we might end up doing. I don't think there are plans to do one yet, but if there is, Mod Grub, how do you feel about allowing people to be barbarians? Would you love to design some concept art for barbarian armor and barbarian axes from Barbarian Village?
No question. Absolutely. Yeah. Who wouldn't want
that? All right. Nice. Next question then from from a person you'll see the name of on screen. Could you recolor Cerberus ghosts to distinguish range from mage better? I'm colorblind and have a lot of trouble differentiating them, and I know I'm not alone.
If I remember correctly, we did make some changes to that already, and they do have different weapons.
Yeah, I think the models were changed, weren't they?
I realize it can be a bit difficult to see them though, especially like if you can see the colors, you can see them coming, you know, like from far away. But at that point, you can't really see the weapons yet until they're like really close.
Yeah.
So maybe that's making it difficult. I'm sure we could look into changing the colors slightly.
I think they are already recolored a little, but not by much.
Right.
Cool.
They already have different weapons at least, so they are different if you know what to look for. But I do recognize that it's hard to see from a distance, at least.
Yeah, I agree with you basically on that one, Elena. Especially if like really quickly out the corner of your eye, you can spot a color without having to look at a model. You know that it's there, especially when you got that muscle memory of playing a particular encounter and over. And we've done a lot of accessibility changes recently, and I think if we're able to change something like the prayer icon, then it would only be fair to look at boss encounters as well. So cool. All right, we'll have a look at that. I think it's been asked before actually, and I'm sure we said that we were going to do it back then, but it must have been missed out. So if someone from the CM team could potentially make sure that one gets logged down, especially please, if it hasn't been already. Boss High Scores, hello, has said, with hard mode Theatre of Blood coming out, will hard mode kill count towards the Theatre of Blood kill count cape?
Yes.
Yes. Can we tell them about the conversation we had just prior to this, Elena?
Yes. So essentially, I saw the question, I asked Husky and Arcane, and they said, I don't know, I feel this way, but ask Mods Ayiza. So I go to Mods Ayiza, and he says, I don't know, ask Mod Arcane. So it's an endless loop. But essentially, how I feel about it is that it should count towards the total capes. I realize that's not consistent with how they do it in CMs, but I don't think CMs should have been that way in the first place. Like, COG CM should have counted equally as regular mode towards the 2K capes, in my opinion. But that's too late to change now, but we can still make it right with TOB,
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think it's a little bit different though, isn't it? Because Theatre of Blood, the normal mode has the capes with them, whereas the capes were only introduced with challenge mode Chambers of Xeric. There was specifically a reward coming from that. So yeah, but as Elena pointed out, I think we highlighted that probably wasn't the best implementation going forward. So with Theatre of Blood, we avoided it by just offering it straight up. Although actually, Theatre of Blood was before Chambers of Xeric challenge mode, so I'm just chatting breeze now. Anyway, yeah, I agree. I think it probably should. I think that's what I said. I was like, probably, but just ask Arcane. So yeah, we're going to just say yes. Craig Haynes 7 has said, will there ever be a further use for the big bass, swordfish, and shark other than placing them in your player in house? After you have more than one of each, the extras are rendered useless. Will we ever be able to have the option to equip them like the golden tench?
Go around slapping people with a giant bass.
I'm all about that.
I'm all for a Kimbo fish, honestly.
Do you want to make some concept art for a wieldable shark?
Yeah, I might make that my... Yes, I'm going to look at that.
I feel like we can really manipulate Grub here.
That's the question though.
You're the concept artist.
Would it be a stiff shark? Would it be a round shark? Yeah, I'll look into it.
I think it's got to be malleable enough that you can get a good slap with it, like get a good whip with the shark. Yeah. Honestly though, I feel like Grub, we can easily manipulate you to say yes to anything as long as it sounds like remotely cool. It's like, yes, I'll do that. That sounds fun.
I'm a pleaser. Yeah.
All right, cool. You heard it here first, chat. At Jagex Grub. Anything you want, just make it sound cool.
As long as it's cool.
Sweet. So basically, Craig, the maybe. I know someone has mentioned, I saw it actually tweeted to me last night, I think it was, about the harpoon fish being equipable from what will inevitably be a challenge mode Tempoross, I assume. And that was an interesting take, the golden tension harpoon fish, but potentially. TK or T Crux has said, when will you make use of Falador's walls and the goblins to the north in a defensive Falador minigame? Start with nothing, use skilling areas only in an instance area of Falador's surroundings to shore the defenses and arm the defenders before the horde comes down.
The way this was phrased was like as if it's like a reminder of like something we're intending to do. Well, I've never heard this ever before. when will we do it? I don't know if we'll do it, but it sounds kind of cool. I like the base concept of having like a small area that you just have to survive with the resources you find. Kind of like Dungeoneering or the Gauntlet, but maybe you could make it last longer. Maybe for... I don't know. I don't know if I would put in Falador, though. Very interesting. See someone in chat say some kind of tower defense.
I would be down for tower defense RuneScape style, honestly.
Could probably do that.
Yeah, maybe. Oh my god, that should be the next league. League of Defense. No, but if you think about it, it could actually work though, right? We have so many different skills in the game with, you know, crafting, construction, smithing, fletching, etc., that could all tie together to making traps, building cannons, putting ballistas down, you know, automatic shooting bows or darts and fall pits, and maybe you can even then use your skill in hunting to have on a pit of angry alligators that can chomp at goblins that are invading. And we have the perfect set of NPCs that work for it too. You know, we have hordes of goblins, minotaurs, spiders, rats, frogs, and then even some obviously more crazier, scary NPCs that could come through as bosses. So, could be an interesting. I think there's potential for it. I reckon that's someone's ideation project right there.
Don't tempt me. I'll do it.
All right, cool. We're going to answer some questions from chat now. So if you haven't already, at Old School RS with some of your questions, we've got a few in here that we can get through. This one comes in from Coxy Baby, and they say, now that we have a collection log counter, can we get a high scores for the collection log count, please?
Don't see why not, as long as it doesn't fall over again.
I would love that. Collection log and pets as well. Pet high scores would be sick.
Sweet. I think similar was said before, that yeah, I think everyone is like down for it. It's just we need to make sure the high scores are stable. And at the moment, obviously, we're experiencing some issues with the hardcore Iron Man high scores being down, and we've had a little bit of issue in terms of actual stability. So when we get to a position where they are stable, then sure, we can definitely look at improving on that. We actually recently released today, in fact, an update to the high scores. If you haven't checked it out already, go over and have a look, and look at the left hand side, scroll down and look at the boss section. It's all different, been updated, very snazzy now. Victory OSRS has said, I am black and white colourblind and find it very difficult to do content like OLM at Chambers, and STE, maybe that's Scythe at Theatre of Blood. Would we be able to change the shape of the orbs instead of going based solely on colour?
At OLM, at least you can see it on the chat. But at Scythe, I guess they do look the same, don't they? Just in different colors.
Yeah, they're not that different.
Thought,
I mean, when you can see the colours, they obviously look different.
Yeah, but they're red and black, but I don't know. I'm not colorblind, so I wouldn't know. But yeah, I'm sure we can have a look at that and try to find something that is easily distinguishable.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that, again, I'm a huge fan of like accessibility changes, and if like the Scythe one especially, like I know they look really obviously different if you're not colorblind, but I don't know again how that looks. If the models look very similar, then yeah, it's not going to harm anyone by changing the model so that it looks more like different, like a range attack looking more range like, and it's not uncommon for us to have different animations or projectiles for different attack styles either, is it? So cool. All right, we'll look into it. If there are any other instances, by the way, those of you that might be colorblind or have other accessibility issues, please let us know, and we'll try and collate a list of them. Even if you were to put it into the Q&A, threads that we post asking for questions, and your question doesn't get asked on the Q&A, the team do go through and take things out of there to put into our suggestion backlog. So your voice isn't going to go unheard just because it didn't get the most upvotes or make it into the Q&A. So here's another one about accessibility, and this is from a Zerosian Pony. If you can make accessibility changes to things, how about some of the quests, e.g., how do you say this? Icthlarin's Little Helper. Icthlarin. I always thought it was Icthlarin's, but I don't know. I'm sure I've heard someone say Icthlarin's. Anyway, that quest, the effects are really hard on the eyes for visually impaired players.
Is that the one where you have lots of flashbacks? So what you did when you were in a, like, you were sleepwalking almost? Or under a spell or something? I think so, and you remember what you were doing inside a pyramid and stuff. Yeah, I could see that one being difficult on the eyes sometimes. It's definitely something we should look at, if that's bothering people.
Cool. Okay, thank you. It's Heath has asked, could you add the Trailblazer task jingle to the collection log pop-up?
As if it's not enough dopamine already. Here, have some more. I mean, to be fair, if we added a jingle, I would want its own jingle, really. Just to kind of make sure that it's not Trailblazer. Show you that, hey, this is the collection log jingle.
A unique
and what
jingle.
if you could have, like, yeah, and what if you got, like, an even better jingle when you completed one log, you know? Like, congratulations, you completed Cerberus. Have the extra cool jingle.
Alright, or maybe you can do a voiceover, and Elena, you can be the one voicing it. Alright?
Okay.
Alright.
You have unlocked Primordial Crystal.
Each of us can do a voiceover for it, and we'll get Kieran to do some of his very interesting character voices too.
Yeah.
It could
Sounds
work.
good.
Alright. Just one thing that I want to... I hate to do this because it's a real shame, because I think today's stream has been really, really well, but I want to address something that was coming up in chat when we were going over those questions. And I know it's a minority, but I just want to make sure that it's like seen as not being acceptable, right? When we go and go over questions that are regarding accessibility changes, you might think that they're not important to you, and they're not important at all to the game, and that we should move on or just get to the real content, or you're just being outright rude. And honestly, it's really disappointing to see. I think if you're that kind of person who is inclined to be mocking people that have accessibility issues or want to have ways to be able to play the game better for them that isn't for any reason of their own fault, it's just the way that they are, or the difficulties they have to face, then I'll just get straight to the point. I think you just need to grow up a little bit, because there are people out there, gamers of all different types. People have different difficulties that they face, and as a company, we're obviously going to accommodate as many people as we can. So if those kind of questions are things that you don't want to hear, instead of typing something silly in the chat and being rude and really ignorant, maybe just don't say anything at all. Just wait for the next question that might be a little bit more relevant to you. And I'm sorry that I had to kind of like do the last bit there, but I felt like it had to be said because I just saw so much stuff coming through, and as I said, it's just disappointing. Like, you don't need to say that. You don't need to say some of the stuff that you do, guys. I know it's the internet and it's anonymous and stuff, but there are people behind screens that are going to read that, so just think about what you post. All right, let's go to a next question, which should hopefully be a little bit more positive, which comes from the Pharos, and this says, will there be a league this year? Yes. I think it's coming out this year. I'm sure we've said there's going to be a league, right?
I think so.
We're
I'm just going to get in trouble for that now.
Doing something with.
Hold on. Let me go and check. Let me go and check December's Gazette from 2020, because I might have to quickly run and pretend I was never on the stream. Hold on a second. Hold on. League. Control Fing this. Oh, okay, here we go. We want to take the current iteration of demo mode, put in a good amount of effort bringing it to the next level, applying what we've learned from leagues and other game modes so we can make Deadman into a true seasonal event for old school. It's on our 2021 roadmap for a reason. That's alongside a third League 2. Okay, Mod Mike D leaked it before me, so yeah, we have said that in the 2021 roadmap, back in 2020, December's Gazette, that Deadman and Leagues 3 are included. Whew. Whew.
Oh, you can feel the bucket overflowing right there.
Close one.
I know I've said it before as well, but I had a real moment of panic there where, like, I just got a look from Elena. I was like, oh, what have I done? And then Tide, you were so quiet. Grub's just chilling.
I was thinking, like, I can't remember. Can we say?
It's just that weird situation where you know it's yes, but can we say that it's yes? You know?
Yeah. All right. Well, it's all right. I took the plunge. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
No worries. This is going to be the last question from chat. This is Mod Druid number 9, and it's from Twas Not Ready. And the question is, I have been considering making a hardcore Iron Man, but I heard of many bans for some reason with them. I'm a little concerned about why that happened. Can you shed light on this? I was speaking to the support team recently, so unless anyone else wants to, I'll quickly cover it and you can add on. Essentially, the anti-cheating team have ramped up their efforts in regards to actioning bans against players that are, abusing the game, breaking the rules, doing things that they shouldn't be. So you probably see a lot more reports of people claiming that they've been banned falsely. I'm not here to say that there's never a false ban that ever happens, but you'll see them becoming more and more common as the efforts to tackle things like real-world trade, botting, and general, abuse of other things start to be really kind of like, tightened up. So we are. I believe that the anti-cheating team themselves, with the extra resource they have now, I say they're doing, ramping up their efforts. We're getting new tools, technologies. We touched on this in which blog was it? I know there was a section that we mentioned it recently, talking about anti-cheating efforts and such. The equipment rebalance range meta. We talked about it in there in response to players saying we should just ban bots at Zora, and then it would make the blowpipe worth more. So have a read through that section, because the support team themselves did put together a statement. But yeah, essentially, that is most likely the effect of us increasing, or, really... I can't think of the phrase. What am I trying to think of? I don't know, we're just getting better at it, I guess.
I'm sorry, I'm not a mind reader, okay?
I'm really struggling to figure out this. Yeah, they're like ramping up their efforts. I think I've said that a few times, and I don't know. It's been a long day. Today's been very stressful. We've had a lot of things going on, which we'll share about as well, I'm sure, soon. But yeah, we're doing more. So you may see more people claiming that they've been banned falsely and whatnot. It doesn't matter if you're a hardcore Iron Man or an Iron Man or a normal account. You all have that, the ability to load up a bot program. Please don't do it. And obviously, just because you're an Iron Man and can't trade with players, it doesn't mean you can't drop trade and stuff. So yeah, you can't hide behind the crown, or the helmet, in fact, actually. Cool. All right, that's it. That's all I've got for questions. I'm going to quickly go over the announcements once more. Before I do that, does anyone else from the wonderful mod panel want to say anything, address anything, touch on anything?
Okay, I need to say one thing, because it's very important. The reason we sometimes stop after Ayiza asked us a question isn't just because we don't know, what to say. It's not because we're very awkward. A little bit, maybe. But it's mainly the fact that we have, a very big lag, and it's very easy to talk on top of each other. So it's not that we're super awkward. We just kind of wait. Imagine, now, I was never in the office. I started working from home. But I imagine it was kind of different when you guys were on the couch and streaming from there. I just saw a couple of, messages about it in chat and stuff, so I just thought I'd mention it.
There'd still be sometimes be some awkward moments on the couch. But it's way easier, because you're just right next to each other.
You can kind of see the physical cue of someone who's about to start speaking, or at one point we used to have especially on Deadman, for example, me and Ian would be waving to each other under the table, and I'm glad that it didn't pick up. The camera didn't pick up like below the shoulders, because you would just see under the table our hands just. Yeah, I don't need to go there, but yeah, I'm glad you pointed it out, Elena, because I think there's been a few instances where people are like, Ayiza, stop over talking everyone. I'm like, oh, I actually didn't mean to. It was just an opportunity to speak, and then suddenly everyone else started speaking at the same time, and now I feel bad. But yeah.
So yeah, just to reassure you, he's not that rude and we're not that awkward. It's just a really big lag. That's all.
I think it's time to start putting our hands up when we want to speak.
True.
Okay, all right, let's go through the announcements one last time. ! Game update. Games room tables are popping up all over Gillinor this week, so head to your local pub or to the new area in Grand Exchange. By the way, that's local pub in-game, for what it's worth. Don't just head to the pub and expect them to suddenly have whatever RuneLink. No, is it RuneLink that's in there? There is one of the games, I think. Anyway, yeah, it's there. So head to the Grand Exchange to battle it out on the board with fellow scapers. We've also made improvements to Tempoross and more. Find it out by using ! Game update. And we also touch on the fact that we removed one of the changes to Tempoross earlier today in that news post, so you can get some information in there. All right, ! For Sani, and I can happily say this is now updated. Not the announcement, just the news post. Mod Sani says whilst he's editing the announcement. That wasn't exactly accurate, was it? So, earlier this week we announced for Sani's Nightmare's potential return. Since gathering your feedback, we made some changes to the recent poll blog after this stream, which is now. Use ! For Sani to check out the news post. It's been updated. We've got some feedback changes in there, some changes to teleport locations, and now that it's live, I can also talk to you very, very quickly, about 2 changes we want to make to the Arceus spellbook rework that's going to be coming out. So first of all, this is a poll question to see if you want the Master Wand to be able to autocast the new spells coming alongside that spellbook. And then secondly, there's a question in regards to the resurrection spells that are going to be coming out, and that's the spell that you can use to summon a thrall. There are 3 different thralls. There's a mage, a ranged, and a melee version, and it starts off with like 1 hit, 2 hit, and 3 as the max hit. That was the old current, what was in the beta. We want to change that, and this poll question basically asks if each one of those individual tiers, so the spell levels, the requirements, the runes, XP, and all that will stay the same, max hits will stay the same, but we'll essentially split each tier out into 3 separate spells. So like the first resurrection, which I think was for the, basically bringing back a ghost, I think it was, you'd have 3 different options. So you can bring back a ranged ghost, or a maged ghost, or a melee ghost. So you can only bring one of them, but you have the option then between 3 different styles, and that works for each of the different tiers of spells that are available. Cool. And then there's also the question about the Scythe, and it looks like, yeah, there are 4 options. You can see which ones we have shortlisted. Cool. That's ! For Sani. Follow the link. Check the blog. ! Support. We're still looking into players experiencing some intermittent lag during play. If you've experienced this, help us gather more data so that we can investigate further to determine the cause. If you've experienced this during your sessions, please use the forum thread with ! Support. And if you can, be as specific as possible. The more specific you can be with the information, the better it's going to be for us to identify potential issues and get to a resolution faster. And then ! Clans is our penultimate announcement, and with clans just around the corner, it is your last chance to secure your current clan name. So visit our form and submit your application with our pre-registration form. With ! Clans, pre-registration period is going to end tomorrow afternoon. And then finally, we are aware the Hardcore Iron Man high scores are currently down. The team's hard at work investigating the issue, and we hope to update you soon with more info. Apologies for the inconvenience with that one. All right, that is everything we have time for today. I overran a little bit, sorry to production. I want to say a massive thank you to Mod Elena, Mod Grub, and Mod Tide for joining me. You have been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much to Mod Sani and Light for... Oh, there's a big echo. There we go. I heard myself and that really threw me off. I felt weirded out. Sani and Light, thank you so much for helping out with the chat. To the rest of the mods that have been in the chat as well. Thank you so much, Druid and Spear, for helping with production. And of course, to all of you wonderful people at home, carry on being fantastic. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a good Friday, the rest of your weekend. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.